Wassail, beautiful people. So I'm very excited because when we first had the deck, Liffruma printed, I got a lot of downloads about different ways to use the deck, to be playful with the deck, and to be more sacred but less sacred with the deck. And to be more playful with the experience of working with an oracle deck. We can be very rigid about cards, and there was something about being more fluid and playful that kept coming through. And I haven't been able to make this video because I needed you all to have decks so that I could explain it and you could have a go at being playful yourself with the deck. So we're going to do a quilt spread, which involves 12 cards and has some elements of a Lenormand Grand Tableau, but on a smaller scale, but with a more playful, enjoyable way of looking at the energy we're presented with, how we can action energy, and then somehow what the universe then brings in return for our actions. And they're not actions that you've necessarily done, they're suggestions. It's to avoid a sense of self-fulfilling prophecy when we see energies that we're less comfortable with. So we need 12 cards to begin with. So let's shuffle the deck. Now it's interesting, I like to shuffle and just let cards fall. But for this, I have a tendency to wait for the first cards to fall, complete that shuffle, and then turn from the top of the deck. So I was very quick. One shuffle completed. And it begins with the card Health. I'm not going to say anything about it yet. I'm going to put all the cards down. The second card is Yo. The third card is Sunsteader. The fourth card is Yana. So that's my top row of 4. Now I'm going to do a row beneath that, a second row. That opens with Hemfereld, followed by Elks, followed by Hell, beautiful energies collectively, and Ken, and then, ooh, Ophilogu. Don't know whether this one's don't know whether this one's going to follow the pattern I want to show you. Needle, and then Fail, and then Dej. So now we have a 12 card spread which looks like this. So this is a patchwork quilt of energies currently circling around you, us, the collective, depending on what you were focusing on as you shuffled. The top row represents the mind, the head, thoughts, consciousness. The middle row represents heart emotions, things that are coming from our heart space. And the bottom row represents grounding. Now, if we look at the first column, which is Health, Hemfereld and Ophilogu, this is kind of like the edges of the quilt that wrap over the bed. They're more concerned with energies that we experience in the physical, and that's also the same with the last column, which is Yana, Ken and Dej. And then the middle two sections are kind of like astral exploration. Again, each includes mind, heart space, emotions, and grounding. So we begin this reading by looking at the quilt and its four corners as being the current fixed energies in our lives that are holding us in place. And I don't mean in a sense of blocking us, but just holding us in space. So we're beginning with health, which talks about understanding how we are in a symbiotic relationship with our body and biome. Then on the opposite top corner, we have Yana. And this is talking about entwining ourselves to something, weaving something lovingly into our futures. Ophalagu is the bottom grounding energy, and that's about being in a balance. And the bottom on the other side underneath Yana is Dej, purifying. So I would look at those cards and think about how there's a sense of being in an energy of understanding how to resolve your world. So knowing that you can resolve features that exist within you. And then we have Ophalagu. So this is grounding yourself in your own balance, understanding and knowing that that's what you are currently doing. It's a very positive reading. I prefer it when these have slightly more uncomfortable tinged energies, as you will see as we go on. Dej is down at this bottom corner, bringing us the idea that we are still working on pushing ourselves through shadows into light, through the exploration, going on an exploration to come out the other side. An incompleteness, although it is an energy of completion, but the fact that it's there and we're still asking questions would suggest it's something we don't feel we've completed. So then I would look at the central rows. So the opening astral energy is Yo and Sunsteader. So in the astral, it's kind of like a dance. I don't like to call something an astral battle because it's not a war really. It's about finding what you're trying to resolve in the astral world. And it's like trying to find, because we have Yo, which is about you, that 13 frequency of creativity, and this rarefied alignment, you're seeking a rarefied moment in your dreams. So because the middle two rows are the part of the quilt that you sleep under, the outer rows are what's running over the edge. So we have in the emotional section, the emotions are Elks, protection, and Hell, returning light. So the dance you're doing there is, are you in some way exploring the diversity of emotions in your dreams? And you might be someone that doesn't remember your dreams, but I've always said this, the more you thank, write a little cosmic thank you note before you go to bed, to thank your guides, spirit, energy for informing you of what's going on in the dreamscape for you, what you're weaving in your dreams. So here I would say that the dance is to do with exploration of emotions, to bring those emotions into your physical. At the moment, they're very much an energy that is part of an ongoing tango. that you're not managing to bring to your physical world. It remains in the astral. It's exploring you in the astral, but it's also exploring diverse possibilities, new ways of seeing emotions in your astral, but not somehow bringing them here into the physical. And then the grounding energy within your astral, the thing that pulls you back into the living day world in the physical, we have needle and feor. So the needle is about mending. It's the eye hole of a needle, and I often talk about this being the focal point of coming out through the needle, because we can be in the eye hole of the needle trying to squeeze through for great long periods of time. So here, to ground yourself, you need to mend, or the energy is suggesting you're struggling to pull your aether, your belief, your trust in light, in goodness, in joy, into the real world. So that's still being stitched every time you're going into the astral. So going down on the outside with between, let's do it that way. So between these two energies that are holding you currently in the physical is the journey home, the Hemfereld. So it would say you're on the path of bringing yourself, resolving yourself to the energies around you. And even though this card is there, there's a sense when we first lay the spread out of the things we haven't yet fully achieved. And then on the other side, it's so beautiful actually. Entwining our astral exploration with our physical existence. And so here, that divine spark that's needed over here to complete this frequency is part of our physical world, but somehow we haven't quite threaded our needle cleanly, so we're not quite getting that. So that gives us an energy layout, a quilt, a mantle that we're sleeping under at the moment, that is our current astral and physical experience. And so then what I was told that we should start doing is, how do we action from these cards a layout based on thoughts, emotions, and grounding that we would like to achieve by working with these energies. So you're going to take the cards and you're going to move them into new positions that you feel better suit the plan of action that you would like to activate in your healing. So let's move them. So here you can see how I begin with the corners. I like to look at the energies I have and decide which of those energies I would like to have in the physical world. So my four corners are now Yana, to be entwined, to be weaving my life with a talismanic thread of love. And then at the top with my thoughts, I want to have that energy of being in that hell frequency, that returned light. Not returning, but I want it returned. I want it as a done action. And then I have health at the bottom, grounding my restored health to this frequency. Your restored health, you know, the collective's restored health, because how our energy shines is the energy we push into the world that mirrors back towards us. And then I'm ending with Ophilagu, because that feels like the ultimate energy that I would like to see for me, you, the world, to be in a wonderful balance, mirroring divine energies. So I've also placed Yo into the frequency of where I start. So the first column feels very much like your physical presence. So now I'm entwining, I'm yarning, I'm weaving love through myself and through my relationship with my physical being. And I'm ending this reading with the returning light, the journey home done, completed, bringing that mirroring frequency of Ophalagu. So now I'm looking at what is being then playfully explored in the astral when I'm asleep. So here I've now got Ken and Elks. So taking that divine spark and having it, allowing it to open all the thought possibilities within my dreams, because I'm now entwining love, and that's sparking a greater diversity of thoughts now that my light is returned. And I'm saying my, but it is referring to all of us within this reading. Then in the emotions, we've got Nadel and Sunsteader, Sunnesteader. And this is mending, a rare moment of being mended. That's how I'm seeing it. The rare moment of being mended that takes us home. You mending home for yourself, where you live emotionally. And then the bottom row, the grounding, is restored, and we have Dej and Feor. So the idea that Dej was I wanted to say like a rogue energy that we hadn't quite fixed, is now followed by the Aether light. So it's saying I move from that constant exploration to actually shining the Aether light from within me. And so that becomes the new frequency. So now I have a new layout. Now I need to feel comfortable, or you do, we all do, feel comfortable with the new patchwork quilt that you've actioned to help you understand how you can make changes to the energies surrounding you. So now we need to fold the quilt to reduce certain energies. Now you can either fold down from the top, up from the bottom, or across from the sides. I want to close off from the sides so that what goes on in the astral is no longer a dance, but the idea of completing that dance and seeing what comes of the two energies when we bring our new physical layout together. So I'm going to put those, and those over. And so now you see we have an energy that looks like this. So here we have Yana and Hel. So the physical thoughts we have are the knowledge that we are weaving our returned light into our physical existence. It's a wonderful energy, really, really wonderful. And then we have Yo in our emotions and Hemfereld. So taking our truth, ourselves, our sacral through, and it has journeyed home, and it is now projecting a new frequency. And then we have health has been restored, and it comes with Ophalagu, an energetic mirroring frequency where everything we do with this spread now feels like it leads to a perfect frequency being mirrored back into our lives. So now we have the choice of folding up the bottom two on top of the middle two, or the top two on top. So because eventually we're narrowing this down to a single energy. So I think I would like to move health and Ophilogu up onto the middle two. So now we have just 4 cards showing. We have Yana, Hell, Health and Ophilogu. So these 2 cards together at the top, and these 2 cards, whoops, picked up too many then. And these 2 cards below. So this is a really concentrated energy of taking that open, diverse frequency of energies surrounding us and bringing them down, filtering them, purifying them down, condensing them to something far more beautiful, far more manageable, and something that has been healed in many ways just by thinking about what you would like to see where. It's interesting because Kathy was telling me, I haven't watched it yet, but Steph's been doing something very similar that the deck itself has expressed in her. It's not sacred where cards fall. It's about seeing where cards fall and how you can action change with those energies. So well done, Steph. So now we're going to fold again and decide whether we want to have Yana and Hell as the 2 cards as we condense further, or whether we want Health and Ophilogu as our final energies. So, you see, I like entwining the returned light, but there's something about Ophilogu that feels in a perfect alignment. So I'm going to move Health and Ophilogu up. So what I'm creating here are little piles of cards. So I've filtered this down to just 2 energies now to read the strength between those 2, restoring your true balance. That feels like a very beautiful, empowering message to take from the cards. And so now I get to choose, do I want to feel health or do I want to feel Ophilogu? Now it's interesting, if I choose this card as the final solution for this moment, this is about physical existence, whereas this one feels about spiritual balance. And I kind of want both. So there's something, you see, I'm so tempted by this because it's a beautiful energy of having passed a test, but and that's the point. I can put this at the top because actually health gives me the chance to step away knowing I've achieved this and move into a physical energy of living a restored life. So I'm going to choose this one to put on the top. So now I have a pile of cards that have grown without my understanding of the order. And so now I'm going to take those cards and lay them back out in a quilt and see how that has transformed the energies working around me just in our thought process. So it now begins with health, then it has Dej, then it has Yo, and then it has Needle. And then we have Yana, Ken, Ophilogu, Feor, Hemfereld, Sunsteder, Hell, and Elks. So this shows us how sometimes the things we want to action don't necessarily align with the energy that Spirit or the cosmos or Liffruma is bringing towards us. So now the energy pinning me to the world, or you, is this restored energy, but also there's something incomplete about this frequency. It's now showing that there's still something in my desires or your desires as we've moved the cards that's left us with something else to mend. The journey home is projecting into this energy of Sunsteder, but this journey home has brought us a greater verbal diversity. Thoughts in the astral, purging myself. So somehow this is still feeling incomplete. Sparking new emotional balances. It doesn't feel a completed journey. And then Sunsteder and Hell, a rare moment of returning the light grounded. So now I'm going to take those cards again and I'm going to shuffle them and see another opportunity for some kind of growth within my philosophical thought process, or yours. There we go. So now we're beginning with the divine spark, followed by purifying, followed by the rare moment and Elks. Then in the emotional row, we have the journey home, we have returning light, gorgeous, and that will mend our aether emotionally. That's fascinating. And then we have restored health is part of the grounding now, not still a thought. I made it somehow head to a thought. The health of me is grounded and is entwining into the Ophalagu. That is so beautiful. So look at that transformation. The option to move and action the energies available and around us is giving me a new layout with those energies that I've played with, I've shifted, I've thought about how they play into my world, or your world, so that I can bring myself into this energy. And what I love most of all is the thoughts now are purifying, a rarefied purifying, to bring us into a greater sense of finding our own voice, our truth, and speaking it. And then the emotions are the journey back to the light has mended the aether. By going on this thought process, I've mended the aether. And my health, my holobiont connection to my bacteria has brought me so that I can entwine myself into a balanced spiritual frequency. So that's how I was taught to play with energies, to start to look at ways in which you can shift and move and change your perception of things currently swirling around you. And often when I end the reading, I like to look at the bottom of the deck to see what the overall frequency or theme of this energetic experience is trying to teach us. So here's the bottom of the deck. Lagoon, the cosmic ocean. So the cards were saying that there are, see, the cosmic ocean for me is water. Water has memory. Water has been here in a finite amount, traveling around the world throughout history. It's been all over the land, in the land, flowing through things. It's been through all humans. All of our cells, our bodies contain water. It's like a form of the Akashic records. And so working with everything, also stop drowning by fighting life's natural course. There's something in this energy, the cosmic ocean of every emotion, ebbing in and out of everything, collective memories rolling down. That sort of playfulness, that knowing that all is possible if we just action transformations, and they don't have to be huge. They just have to be a philosophical idea from the top row, going down to the middle row, a philosophical idea that can transform the language of your heart space, which is what the universe is reading, and how that allows you to ground yourself in a new frequency. So that's the Patchwork Quilt spread, and I'd like at some point to do a live where maybe we could all put together an energy where different people select a card and we lay that out as a collective energy and talk about how we would like to transform the frequencies. So, Wassail, beautiful people, keep enjoying Liffruma. I'm very honoured by everybody who has engaged in getting their hands on this deck to activate a new way for us to look at our lives, both spiritual and physical, and to find ways to move ourselves from our stale energies into something more beautiful, more calm and more loving. So, wassail and thank you. If you want to join in the Healing Oracle fun, then visit liffruma.com where you can purchase your own copy of the deck. Wassail.